All right, well, for our final piece, for any of you who don't know, we teased it before the show, tomorrow, May 20th, Saturday, is World Metrology Day, and it's the perfect time to celebrate the science of measurement, which contributes so much to manufacturing excellence across the industry and across the world. We talked about it in your piece earlier from NIST.
Yep.
I mean, the guys at NIST do
crazy stuff.
Fantastic work, amazing work to really underpin what industry can do. Well, the roots of World Metrology Day actually go back more than 140 years to May 20th, 1875, and that was the date on which representatives from 17 nations signed the Treaty of the Meter in Paris. This act, which was the crowning achievement of the Meter Convention, happening in Paris at the same time, established the principles by which standards and measurements could be harmonized throughout the world. And none of which we now call quality really could have happened, if you think about it, in the 20th or 21st century without the Meter Convention. So this is a pretty big deal in our industry, this World Metrology Day. And if you'd like to learn more, check out www.worldmetrology.org. I'm sorry, worldmetrologyday.org. Check that out, because it's a really good event there to learn about why metrology is so important. And you know, we always try to do something special for World Metrology Day each year, because our partner, the Coordinate Metrology Society, is the leading organization in portable, three-dimensional measurement for large volume, close tolerance projects in industry. And the group's annual event, the Coordinate Metrology Society Conference, is happening this summer in Park City, Utah. Dirk, you and I have gone to about the last 12 of these in a row, I think 12 or 13. And they're great. It's always a really amazing experience. Their website is at www.cmsc.org, and it's really the place you can go to find out how you can attend. This is truly one of a kind event. It's in a great location this year in Park City, Utah. It's going to really be fantastic, so check that one out. Now, Dirk, as I mentioned, we always do something a little special to commemorate World Metrology Day around this time. And this week, you wrote an article titled "The Amazing Hidden World of Metrology Technology," and that ran in yesterday's issue of Quality Digest. You can see it right there. And you talked about the fast pace of technological change in general, and specifically looked at some really incredible recent innovations from a pair of CMSC vendors, Faro Technologies and Hexagon Manufacturing Intelligence. And there really are two very interesting projects or breakthroughs that they came up with. And it's interesting to see how that works in terms of industry today. So could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, and not just, I mentioned Faro and Hexagon, also Mitutoyo. To me, what was fascinating is I subscribe to a service that sends me announcements on patent releases or patent submissions. And I subscribe, and I kind of keep my eyes on what's coming in from actually a lot of the people who go to the CMSC conference we just mentioned. Faro's there, Hexagon's there. A lot of these companies that I monitor are at the CMSC, and so I kind of see their patent submissions that come in. And one thing that you become really aware of when you do that is that these companies are always thinking ahead, not only on how do we improve our current products, because a lot of patent submissions are improvements on existing products or existing technology, how can I measure faster, better, that sort of thing, but also they're looking way ahead to what might be possible in the future. So I mentioned, Faro is looking at using drones, a pair of drones to do structured light measurement. When, one drone goes up and projects a pattern, another drone comes up, measures that pattern, they get 3D information from that. These drones can go anywhere. They could go up and measure the top of a skyrise. They could measure a boat they could do anything, because it's not based on sticking a piece of equipment on a tripod. Mm-hmm. Hexagon is looking at portable backpack carried 3D dimensional equipment. And some of this stuff they aren't products. They may never even become products. Yeah. They're just ideas. They get, of course, obviously they patent them because they want to lock down the idea. Should they decide to productize it, they want to make sure they have the patent for it.
Sure.
But you get a sense of what's going on in the world of metrology and how this is always evolving, and it's very kind of below the surface. I mean, you don't have somebody like a Steve Jobs, may rest in peace, get up there in his black turtleneck and make this big announcement. This all stuff it's not like consumer electronics. This stuff is so hidden, and you go to a trade show and you see these crazy pieces of equipment that can measure to sub-micron accuracies in some cases, and you're going, what the heck? This is amazing. Nobody knows about it, but you're using the equipment that's made by this stuff all the time. And it's possible because companies, like the companies you would see at the CMSC, are working on these products continuously, just smart men and women just constantly thinking ahead. How can they tweak? How can they innovate? And then a few years later, 10 years later maybe, you see a product roll out.
But like you say, like I was saying before, I mean, the science comes first. I mean, the science comes first, and then the engineering kind of comes into place from there.
And let's talk about that. The reason we cover NIST a lot, because a lot of the advancement that NIST makes is kind of the basis of the science in many cases. And other organizations, Oak Ridge and NIST and Livermore, and sometimes just privately funded by companies like Hexagon and Farrow, their own research, lays the groundwork for the science and discoveries, and then eventually this trickles through and enables a product that wouldn't have been possible before. Well, now it's possible. Terahertz sensors we were talking about at NIST. Well, who knows? 10 years from now, that sensor might make its way into an industrial metrology product. Right? So the science comes first, then somebody says, hey, I could use that idea to implement, some sort of new type of measurement scheme that'll be used by industry. And it's just, to me, the whole process is really fascinating.
We see the medical device a lot too. I mean, things are like with blood detection. I mean, there's a lot of things that science discovers, and the product kind of finds its way to the science rather than the other way around so much. And it's really fascinating to me how this bubbles up. And what I'm interested in is stuff that's happening now. We'll see maybe in 2025 that we don't even know. We can't even conceive right now some of the stuff that they're researching.
And by the way, to tie this back actually into World Metrology Day, none of this actually would be possible if measurement wasn't harmonized, standardized across the. I mean, when we know that when we measure something to 300 nanometers in the United States. That is exactly the same as 300 nanometers in France, in Russia, in Iran, in Iraq, no matter where, it's a standard, and that allows the transfer of knowledge and the transfer of information, the transfer of ideas across borders where it wouldn't have been possible if you didn't have those standards. Everybody would be working with something different like they used to many years ago, and it wouldn't make sense, right? And now it does.
So, it's incredible stuff. And again,
it all comes together at the CMSC show.
And that's what I was going to just say.
Park Spring, Utah.
It's a great it really is a great opportunity and the best opportunity at CMSC is to talk to a lot of these engineers who are right there on the floor. I mean, if you have a problem, a project, whatever, I mean, it really is the place to go. So check it out. Again, www.cmsc.org to find out more about the upcoming show. All right.